There are too many old men driving in Formula One. It's time to give the youth a chance. I'm Terry Saunders, and full disclosure, I'm 40. And despite having a varied career as a comedian and a designer, and even for one horrible day in the 90s, a removal man, it's finally time for me to admit that my chance of a Formula One drive has sadly passed me by. The FIA changed the rules about minimum ages when Max Verstappen got a super licence. And of course, that was the right and proper thing to do. No 18-year-old should be an F1 driver. They'll be erratic and dangerous and thinking about Pokemon and their constant erections. So why have all these old drivers outstayed their welcome? Well, the truth is Formula One is so safe now and the drivers are so well paid, and because of the lack of testing, experience counts for a lot more than raw speed. I know we all love Kimi Raikkonen because he pretends to be grumpy, but he won the championship 13 years ago. Michele Alboreto, Andrea De Cesaris, Adrian Sutil, Riccardo Patrese. These are all names of drivers who, let's face it, would probably struggle to get a statue of them built in their hometown. And yet somehow, they all racked up over 100 races each. The seasons, this year aside, are so long now that drivers can easily rack up careers of well over 300 races and yet somehow remain utterly unremarkable. There's a lot of exciting drivers coming up in the junior formulae, but they won't be able to get into Formula One because it's all clogged up with these old farts. Yes, it's great that Alonso's coming back, but when he had his first race, Lando Norris was a 1-year-old. In Formula One terms, he's an old git, a has-been, shitting himself in a care home whilst his family doesn't visit. Romain Grosjean's been a full-time Formula One driver for 8 years. And if you've been trying to climb a tree for 8 years, but you're as shit as Grosjean is, well, you'd give up by now, wouldn't you? Thanks, can I get down? Can you bring the ladder, please? No, I can't. I won't. But I hear you yell, we need famous drivers, we need history, we don't want a bunch of Giovinazzis and Latifis clogging up the field. You're not really suggesting a maximum age limit, are you? No, I'm not, because I'm 40 and maximum age limit would terrify me.
Don't worry, I have a solution.
No maximum or minimum age in Formula One, just a maximum tenure. The US president gets 2 terms in office. I propose 10 seasons of Formula One, and that's your lot. It would sharpen up the has-beens, and it would also stop the ludicrous situation in recent years of both Button and Barrichello doing the final race of a season without even knowing if it was the last race of their career or not. So if you're an Alonso and you find yourself in an uncompetitive Ferrari in 2010 or an uncompetitive McLaren in 2015 or even an uncompetitive Renault in 2008 and 2021, you could take a sabbatical, give someone young a chance of a drive for a year, and then you come back for your big grand final season. Lewis Hamilton's been racing for, Christ, 13 years, so he'd have to go. In fact, under my system, him and Schumacher would both be 3-time world champions, and Vettel would be a 4-time world champion, but without any of that later embarrassing stuff. It would mean in the last 10 years there'd have been more than 3 drivers taking the championship. In fact, Rosberg did exactly 10 years. I think I finally respect him. So if you want to hear more of my amazing views on Formula One, listen to my podcast for Formula One's sake. And if people who can actually drive cars is your thing, then subscribe to this channel. Technically that footage is actually quite crap. It's all fuzzy and it keeps cutting out as if the camera is shitting itself and shutting its eyes thinking it's going to die. But that's what adds to the excitement of it. You can watch that clip on your phone on YouTube and you feel like you're out in Senna driving around the track.